Have you ever felt just completely pulled off center by daily life? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to do something really fascinating. We're diving into the ancient wisdom of the Zhongyong, also known in Thai as Kampitang Saiklong, or in English, the Doctrine of the Mean. We'll be pulling from some profoundly deep Chinese and Thai historical texts to translate this philosophical masterpiece into a super practical framework that you can actually use every single day. Get ready, because we're about to uncover that original, harmonious spark right inside you. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Origins of the mean, 2. Heaven's decree and nature, 3. The path and education, 4. The unbreakable spiritual bond, 5. Balancing the human emotions, and finally, 6. The universal root. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Origins of the mean.
So looking at these classical texts, they actually represent this ultimate unbroken connection between heaven and humanity. According to the great historian Sima Shan, this wisdom was passed down directly from the ultimate sage, Confucius, to his grandson, Zisi. And Zisi actually recorded it because he was terrified that this profound truth about the human mind might get distorted over time. It was literally designed to be a direct transmission from mind to mind, locking in a cosmic truth for all future generations.
But you might be wondering, what exactly is the Zhongyong? Well, it's definitely not just some abstract theory. When we look at the translated Thai sources, it beautifully aligns with the middle path or the sincere truth. Think of it as a state of normalcy that just never changes and never wavers. It's this bright, magnificent path right here in the real world. Ultimately, it's a super practical guide to finding your true self amidst all the sheer chaos of material life.
All right, Section 2, Heaven's Decree and Nature.
Tianming zhe wei xing. What heaven confers is called nature. The ancient Chinese concept of Tianming, or heaven's decree, is unlocked so beautifully by the Thai texts. They describe it as this pure spark of life, this divine spirit, given to us directly by the universe. It's the ultimate source of who you are, something that existed way before you even took physical form.
And that brings us to Sing, which means human nature. Now, I want you to think of your original nature not as some personality you have to build from the ground up, but as a pure, bright spark from heaven that you just need to uncover. The text explained that the second this spiritual essence enters our physical bodies, it gets totally clouded by the material world. Our desires, material objects, external influences. It's exactly like pulling a brand new smartphone straight out of the box. It's perfect, it's fast, it's pure, until it gets totally bogged down by hundreds of noisy apps. But underneath all that daily clutter, your Sing remains perfectly bright, pure, and completely untainted.
Moving on to Section 3, the path and education. So, how does this spiritual evolution actually happen? It's a 3-step process. First, heaven's decree gives us our cosmic origin. Second, we receive that pure spark, our human nature. And third, living in true, unbroken alignment with that nature is what we call the path, or the Tao. To walk the path literally just means preserving that original righteous state without leaning off to one side or wandering completely off course.
But let's be real for a second. The material world is constantly pulling us off center, right? We get distracted, we get greedy, we get angry, and that right there is where Jiao comes in. While we usually translate this as education in English, in this ancient context, it actually means the intense spiritual discipline of cultivating, repairing, and returning to our original untainted state. It's your daily practice of literally pulling yourself back to the middle path whenever earthly attachments try to drag you away.
Which brings us to Section 4, the unbreakable spiritual bond.
The ancient texts are super clear about this. They tell us the path cannot be left for a single instant. If it could be left, it would not be the path. Think about that. You literally cannot separate yourself from this cosmic truth. Even when you're completely wrapped up in the distractions of the material world, that underlying spiritual energy, that vital force, is still the exact thing animating your body and your mind. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts just kind of drift when you're stuck in traffic, totally alone? The texts warn us that the human mind is like this turbulent sea of hidden thoughts. When nobody's watching, it is so incredibly easy for our minds to wander off into dark or selfish places. So to consciously maintain this bond, the sages advise a practice called shendu. This is the rigorous, uncompromising practice of guarding your thoughts and maintaining purity even when you are entirely alone. Shendu is all about protecting that inner spark from the quietest, most invisible internal distractions. You've got to be mindful in the unseen and cautious in the unheard.
All right, section 5, balancing the human emotions.
Let's face it, our emotions are usually where we completely lose our balance. The source text explicitly calls out 4 primary emotions: joy, anger, sorrow, and pleasure. Our Thai and Chinese sources explain that the moment our minds attach to the material world, these emotions flare up. And if we leave them unchecked, they act like crashing waves of water, just totally overwhelming our rationality and forcing us to make biased, unfair decisions. When we get swept up in these feelings, we lose our center entirely.
But here is the ultimate solution. And spoiler alert, the goal is not to become some emotionless robot. There's an absolutely crucial distinction here between Zhong and He. Zhong is the state of the mean. It's that tranquil, impartial mind before any of those emotions even arise. But He, which means harmony, is what happens when those emotions do arise, but you express them to their exact, proper, balanced degree. We aren't trying to suppress the waves of emotion, we're just guiding them to make sure they flow in perfect, proportional harmony.
So how exactly do we achieve that perfect flow? By building a dam of moral consciousness. The Thai text wonderfully breaks down the 5 virtues that are already inherent in our spiritual nature. We've got Ren, which is compassion, Yi, righteousness, Li, propriety, Ji, wisdom, and Sin, trustworthiness. So when anger rises, compassion steps in to soften it. When desire flares up, propriety sets a firm boundary. By engaging these 5 virtues that come straight from our pure nature, we build this incredibly robust structure. It allows us to feel deeply without ever losing our center.
And finally, section 6, the universal root. Zhong is the great root of the world. Harmony is the universal path. The text basically promises that when you cultivate the mean and achieve harmony within your own mind, something miraculous actually happens. Heaven and earth take their proper places, and absolutely all things are nourished. By simply balancing your own internal emotions, you are literally aligning yourself with the very root and path of the cosmos itself. How wild is that? You already possess a bright, pure spark of heaven right there inside you. The only thing getting in the way is that turbulent wave of unchecked emotion and daily material distraction. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to really chew on. In a world absolutely packed with noise and constant pull, how are you going to practice mindfulness when no one is watching? How will you cultivate your original nature and find your mean today? Thanks so much for exploring this profound ancient wisdom with me.